So, hello everyone, my name is Jaroslav Stehlík, and today I will present you my virtual worlds inside Unity and virtual reality. Today I created a really unusual experiment, and I will give you the whole presentation in Unity, in the engine itself, and also in virtual reality itself. So it would be really experimental. So if there would be any problems, please be kind to me a little bit. And I think that it should be well enough. I hope there would be not any errors. But you know, programs, you never know. So now it's much better because I cannot see you, so I'm not so shy, and I can do magic stuff like this, and you can. Sorry. I know that was really like stupid, but so I am Jaroslav Stehlík, as you can see. Is it visible? Yeah, a little bit. Okay. So I am a digital dreamer at Dream Digital, which is basically a company which I started, and of course I have a Twitter account. So if you wanna see a much weirder things than this, you should definitely follow me because I'm weird itself. So on my own. And next slide. Woo! So dreaming in virtual reality by Jaroslav Stehlík. We already heard that, so I will skip it. And now it's loading. Okay, so this is the end of the presentation, and we're done. No, I'm just kidding.
It's really nice.
Okay, so yeah, so how we actually like capture the reality, because that's really important. Capturing reality. Sorry, my neck is broken, but that's okay. And how do we capture reality? We have a lot of options to capture it, as you already saw. Via HoloLens, you can create low poly sparse meshes, but if you want to create high poly, basic reconstruction, you have to get around. And the first option, if you want to create really, really big scans, you have to go aerial. So you have to buy an airplane, and of course you have to create a pilot license, which is extremely easy and cheap, so definitely do that. Or you can buy a drone, and still you are illegal to use it. So maybe you should scan the whole desert, because or you can hire someone who will do it instead of you, and you will not get sued. So that's much better option. So, as I said, it's expensive, it's dangerous, because if you are in the air, it's really hard to be still in that air with different conditions, especially if the drone itself is completely driven by electronics. Helicopter is like purely mechanical. So even if everything fails, not the engine of course, it will still keep in the air, and it will probably don't crash. But drones, one tiny sensor gives me a little bit weird information, and the drone goes crazy and crash into your car or something like that. And you don't want to do that, and especially you don't want to, you don't want to pay for that damage, especially. So, this is not recommended, but I would recommend to purchase a balloon. It's much less dangerous than an actual drone. So, next slide. Okay, so this is basically my first scan, aerial scan, which I created with Michael, which is sitting here. So everyone give a really big shout out to Michael. It was captured on my birthday, so I didn't get drunk. I instead created this, which is almost the same result. So, and as you can see, no, you cannot see me. Okay. So, you can create really large scan, and they are really detailed, as you can see. And of course, then you can do games and simulations and everything you want with that data, which is the best thing about it. So, but when you want to scan something much smaller, then it gets much easier, of course. So then it comes to close range, which we can scan like trees, we can like dead animals or something like that. And that's much easier for everyone. So definitely do that, and definitely try that again already with your smartphone. So you can see. Good. So close range. What equipment do you need? Of course, you can use your smartphone, you can use any DSLR, but in the end, if you want the biggest quality, high quality scans, then the most important aspects are lens, the resolution of your camera, and a tripod, because you want to scan perfectly sharp images. That's the biggest problem right now. Or you can make more images. The better your camera is, the less images you need, and the worse the camera is, the more images you need. That's a little bit math for you. And of course, polarization filter, and the best option is to get LiDAR, which is a laser scanner, and it's extremely cheap because it costs only around 300,000 crowns. So get it now from Alza. Okay, so how we should actually shoot these scans? You have to actually circle your subject. So if you can imagine that this is my subject, I will take my camera, this is my camera, and I will do a picture, 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 and now he gets bored. So that's everything. That's photogrammetry. Nothing special, just too much pictures. So, yeah, I said it. Low ISO, full manual settings. You want to have the picture. Everyone has to be the same. So no automat setting, only manual. Or you can hire some photograph if you are not able to use manual on your picture, on your photograph. And next slide. Yeah, you can see. We don't have sound, so but there is like. Yeah, because transitions are boring, so I have to add something to this. So, yeah, what's the biggest problem right now in photogrammetry are shining surfaces, or basically any reflective surfaces. That means metal, that means glass, and that means also half reflective surfaces like plastic and so on. And it's extremely hard to shoot these things. So the options, what you can do is don't shoot them. That's the first option, of course. The second option is cover it with some paint, which is matte, or you can use some dirt, so it will create a nice structure. But of course, if you are shooting really, really old antique things, you probably don't want to make them more dirty than they are already. So then it's getting really, really problematic. And then you need perfect light condition, a studio without any reflections, and of course a polarization filter, which will block at least 30% of these reflections in specific directions. So as I said, use polarization filter for reflection. Oh my god. Okay, or use LiDAR, but the LiDAR is basically a laser scanner which has much better vision, because LiDAR doesn't care about the structure of what you are scanning. It only measures distances, but that means that you have still the same problem, because reflective surfaces cannot be scanned even with LiDAR, so it's still a problem. And of course, we need great weather, but for me, great weather, it's not sunny weather, it's cloudy weather. Because when it's cloudy, you don't have any direct sunlight, you have only ambient light, which creates really nice looking soft shadows, which decreases the reflectivity of materials, and your objects don't reflect any sunlight, so they are extremely easy to capture, even the reflective ones. So, no hard light and no hard shadows. Okay. And scanning people, that's something which is extremely hard, because people are constantly moving. So if you want to scan people, you have to kill them before scanning. That makes completely sense. Or of course you can create a really, really expensive rigs with hundreds of film cameras or digital cameras, but it's much cheaper to kill that person. Or you can actually get some cadaver, of course, and that family will be especially lucky that they can bring their dead fellows to the virtual reality. That's something which everyone wants to. So yeah, scanning people is extremely difficult. It's much easier to scan only faces, but still is hard because the whole body is still completely shaking. Look at me, I'm shaking like a crazy person. So yeah. And what software should you use? So, oh my god. Photogrammetry software. You can use Agisoft. It's really robust, but it's quite slow. Or reality capture. It's really fast, but not so robust. So we will definitely end up using both. And Autodesk Remake, that's good only when you don't really care about money, because it's a cloud service. So you can not buy one license, but you have to buy every scan again. So that's really, really good model, Autodesk. And 1, 2, 3, that's something which you can start today to creating really, really easy scans, and it's good for beginners. And I personally think what's right now important is to create a huge database of 3D models, which should be open source or for $5 or something like that. So we can actually create these virtual worlds much easier, much faster, and more immersive. And that's all. So thank you. I hope that you liked my presentation. I will do my last dance right now, and of course.
Post-mortem of the bird. You can bird. Does it? Can it fly? No. The bird.
The bird. I can show you the bird inside Unity, if you want. So scenes. Grow. So basically, if you want, I can show you the Bohemia VR. That's the project on which I'm working, and this is a bird. And as you can see, the bird behaves somehow. It wants to behave intelligently, but it's just it's just a crowd, you know. So this one, what's interesting about this is that it's completely animated with procedurally animation. So it's not animated by an animator, but by a programmer. That's me, because I cannot animate, so I can program the bird. And what's good about this is that he can follow me from time to time. Maybe, yeah. No? He's not interested. Yeah, but he's trying to look at me sometimes. And of course, because he's completely driven by inverse kinematics, we can extremely easy start doing really crazy stuff with it, like this. So I can take the crow and of course the crow is also able to do much more. So yeah, so it's really nice crow. And yeah, this is basically a crow which will be in the game, which is called Bohemia VR, which I can show you right now, and you can maybe try it today here. So it looks like this. I will maximize it. Sorry that there is no sound. I'm not sure if there is any sound input. Who cares? And this is also made in the engine, so it's not like pre-rendered video or something like that. Now it's moving. It's running in the editor, so it's much slower than when it's compiled on the actual device. Okay, so I should probably try to run it from the scene itself. Okay, and this is Bohemia VR, and what this is basically that it's like a historical game where you basically look around photogrammetry scans and search for like artifacts. So as you can see, I have a teleport in my right hand, so I can actually teleport. I don't know why there is the green stuff.
Where is this cast?
Wasn't there before. Sorry for that.
Into the Prague.
So this is the teleportation, and this is the test probe. So as you can see, we can search for artifacts which should be like from the past. So we are looking to the past, and there will be for interactive for some degree, but right now they are not. So keep that please in mind. And there should be also something. Yeah, it is. So there is a horse. You know, you cannot do that in real life because that horse will probably bite you. And this is really cool. So I can go inside and shout out like, "Come on, go somewhere, horse." So this is really nice. And of course it looks really realistic, so you can try it after that. And the last feature which I integrated is that you can actually change the time itself. So you can change between day and night. So as you can see, I'm rotating the stars. And right now the sun is rising. Can try to get somewhere more interesting. Is it visible or is it too dark? Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. Oh, there are the stars. Okay, so this should be much more interesting to view. And now we can change the day and time. So as you can see, the shadows are moving accordingly, and it is also physically correct. That means that the sun is actually having this trajectory in real life. So you can actually do pictures inside virtual reality, and that's basically it. So I hope that you like it.